So we're not using the good and the beautiful for math anymore.
Been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Smith Party of Six. I'm Audriana Smith. This is where I share about homeschooling, parenting, and just generally life rooted at home. So in this video, we're going to talk about why we are not going to be using the good and the beautiful for math. If you don't already know, the company recently made a switch to a new math program that they have entitled Simply Good and Beautiful Math. There were a lot of people that were kind of upset about it. Honestly, I was really excited about it. There were just kind of certain things about the old program that I didn't necessarily love. While I always liked all their stuff, it kind of could take a long time, especially when you are teaching at multiple different levels. And sometimes, I don't know, it just didn't seem to flow with our day. I know different people have different perspectives, but that was just mine. I was totally fine with it. We still enjoyed using it, but I could definitely see where it could be improved upon. So I was actually really looking forward to the Simply Good and Beautiful Math. All of the videos for it, it just looked really, really nice, like it was gonna be awesome. And I'm not saying that they didn't put a lot of hard work and time and effort into creating it. That's something that I love about the Good and the Beautiful too, is that they really, really listen to the families that use their product. So that was an area where they had listened to the people using the math program and decided, hey, maybe we should switch it up. And I really, really respected that from them. I also just want to pause here really quick just to say that this is not some smear video of the Good and the Beautiful. I will be making a video at a later time just kind of talking about the fact that we're not going to really be using them for very much anymore, but it's not because I hate the Good and the Beautiful or something. I actually really, really appreciate them as a company because they make it super easy for people who want to homeschool and also really affordable. Honestly, if it wasn't for them, our first couple of years homeschooling would have been very, very difficult. So they really, really helped us out a lot for those like first few years, really getting our sea legs, figuring out what style of homeschooling suits our family and all of that. It was really, really beneficial to be able to use them. They make it simple, open and go, love it, awesome. Unfortunately, I do not love their new Simply Good and Beautiful Math, and I hate that. And really, honestly, Simply Good and Beautiful Math might be great for some kids. For our family, it's not working out. So just a little bit of background on our family. I currently have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, soon to be 8, a 5-year-old, Arwen, who, you know, you saw in all the videos when she was like 2, and a 3-year-old, Aspen. And I'm doing school with all 4 of them right now. The 3 older ones are the ones using Simply Good and Beautiful Math. Well, they were using Simply Good and Beautiful Math until just not that long ago. Before that, we had always used the older Good and Beautiful Math. That was the only math that we've ever used. I'm one of those people that it's like, once you choose a math curriculum, other ones are kind of easier to say, oh, we don't really like that one, let's switch up. But for me, math like needs to have more of a continuity, and I feel like sometimes switching kids to a different math can kind of upset things. So I was hoping to be able to stick with this math at least through all of their, you know, elementary years. So for the old math of the Good and the Beautiful, my oldest did not necessarily love it. Certain things didn't always click well with him, but I was just assuming that he wasn't more of like a math-minded kid. Whereas our second child, our daughter Alexia, oh my goodness, like I would just barely start to explain the concept in the way that they would explain it in the old math books. It would just click for her. She would just be able to take off with it from there. And so I was just assuming, okay, she is more of a math-minded person. I am someone who tends to have an easy time with math. And so I just figured that she was just kind of taken after me and that she was just good at math. So what I ended up doing, since my oldest struggled with a few things and his sister, who's just like a couple years younger than him, was really excelling, I would just let him take his time and I would let her go as fast as she wanted, and eventually I would just twin them, which honestly would make my day a lot easier. So that's what we ended up doing. Lexi flew through level 2 of the old math. I mean, really flew through it, but not in a way where she didn't understand things. She would ace all of her tests, like she was fully getting those concepts. So once I twinned them, I was like, great. It ended up being right around the same time that the Simply Good and Beautiful math was coming out. So I just went ahead and bought level 3 of the Simply Good and Beautiful math to start them both on it at the same time. So this is my son's book. We've used it for a little while now, so you can see some wear on it. But so here's level 3 of the Simply Good and Beautiful math that we have been using. I'm not gonna lie, I was so excited to start this. I mean, obviously just like everything that they do, like it's just, I don't know how well I'm gonna be able to show you things, but I mean, it's beautiful and it's very engaging, lots of color. And I was hoping that everything was just gonna go really smoothly. But then something really weird happened. My math-minded child was suddenly not understanding concepts being taught in the level 3 of this book. But my son, who had previously struggled with the old math, was actually picking up on things really well and was doing a great job. So I was scratching my head as we're getting through this book. I mean, we made it over halfway through before I pulled the plug, but so like, what should I do? Should I just switch Lexi to a different style of math that would fit her a little bit better and keep Elijah in the Simply Good and the Beautiful math? Like, that seemed for a while like what I was going to go with. But then I also started to notice something in Arwen's math. So she's technically in kindergarten right now, but she is doing level 1 math because I started her kind of earlier with stuff, so she's ahead in certain subjects. So I noticed in the new level 1 math that it was very, very different than the old math. I'm not an expert in this or anything. I haven't actually gone back to line up lessons and see, okay, is it the same basic scope and sequence? But just from my perspective as a mom, looking back and remembering some of the things that I had taught with Elijah and Alexia both when they had been in level 1 separately, it didn't seem as robust in the new Simply Good and Beautiful math, if I'm just being honest. And I know that their approach was to make things gentler, and I do appreciate that. I think that what I would have wanted from a gentler curriculum was to go ahead and keep things basic. It's fine to keep things basic, but at the same time to really thoroughly explain those basic concepts. Instead, the new Simply Good and Beautiful math, for me anyways, comes off feeling a little bit redundant in level 1. It almost feels too basic. Arwen has been working on, I mean, you know, addition and subtraction and all of that all year, but it doesn't feel as hearty as it did in the original level 1. In some cases, it almost feels a little bit like the old level K. So it feels like it's just gone down a little bit in the difficulty level, which again, for some families, that would be awesome. So if that works for your family and that's the sort of thing that you're looking for, is that gentler approach, then that's great. That's totally fine. But what I am wanting is a more thorough approach where they're teaching the same thing from multiple angles, so that when a child starts to learn a concept, not starts to learn, but when they've fully mastered that concept, in the sense that the curriculum says that, okay, this is mastery now, that they know it fully from every angle. They totally get it, if that makes sense. But that's not really what's happening with the new Simply Good and Beautiful math. Now, I know that it spirals a lot. So, you know, when you go back to that concept, you do get it a little bit deeper each time. And I know that probably in subsequent years, as you continue your child through the program, you'll circle back to those same things and learn them from different angles more deeply. I'm figuring that that's what's going to happen. I don't know for sure. But because I started having these doubts about it actually being thorough enough and being what I wanted, I decided to go ahead and check out Singapore math because I had looked into it a while back. And again, I'm not the type of person that wants to really switch my kids with math. So I was like, no, I don't really want to do that. That was the same time when they were announcing Simply Good and Beautiful math. So I decided this looks awesome. They're obviously taking people's thoughts into consideration. I want to go ahead and try Simply Good and Beautiful math. But then when it started not really working out, then I decided to go ahead and look at Singapore again. I printed off placement tests for my kids. And then I was really convinced that we needed to go ahead and switch, because even just looking through the questions that they would ask, even though it was the same thing that my kids had been learning about, multiplication, division, fractions, all of that, like I was saying before with what I was wanting, Singapore really stresses, it seems like, children thoroughly and fully knowing a concept, even if it's worded in a different way. So as I was looking through these questions, I'm going, okay, so my kids have learned about a lot of this stuff, but it feels like they're not even gonna know what to do in some of these, even though they should know this concept already. And so I went ahead and gave them the placement tests, and I was right. They did not do great on those placement tests. There were certain things that they definitely were fine on, and others that it's like, I'm gonna have to do level 3 with my older kids over again. And same with Arwen. I'm starting her over at the beginning of grade 1 in Singapore when she's already been through half of grade 1 in The Good and the Beautiful. And so with that, I just decided to go ahead and pull the plug. As much as I don't like switching a math curriculum, I think that in certain cases it's needed. And so we're not going to be doing The Good and the Beautiful for math anymore. If it works great for you, I'm not telling you, oh my goodness, it's the worst ever and your kids aren't going to learn how to do math. That's not what I mean. It's just, I'm looking for something a little bit different when it comes to our family and our kids, and I want them to be confident in math and to just really understand the concepts thoroughly. Now, something really positive about The Good and the Beautiful that I'll say is that they don't really have to be taught about word problems separately, because I mean, the whole lesson usually is just word problems, you know, setting up scenarios and saying how we would figure this out with math, which I love that aspect of The Good and the Beautiful. But at the same time, just in comparing it with other curriculum, it just does not feel as robust, unfortunately. I know it's a little bit weird for me to pull the plug like close to the end of the year, but not quite to the end yet. But at the same time, I mean, we still had more of The Good and the Beautiful book to get through anyway. It's like I said, we were a little over halfway through on both of their things, both in level 3 and in Arwen's level 1. So I think that we're gonna go ahead and get started on our Singapore and just continue to do it throughout the summer. I'm not having a very full school schedule throughout the summer. We do year-round schooling, but I'm definitely want to have like a little bit more of that break feeling. I feel like I'm just slightly burned out. You know, when curriculum just like isn't fitting, it makes the whole day harder. And I think that we all, the kids and I both, just need kind of more of a break. But, you know, we'll still do some math throughout the summer, maybe like a few lessons a week. And of course, we'll still do Bible, because for me, that's an all year round thing. You know, you never stop being discipled. But I am definitely looking forward to using Singapore. To anyone who uses it, you know, let me know how you guys like it down in the comments. I mean, I know obviously with every curriculum, there are going to be people who have used it and switched from it and say, you know, I'm not really that into it because of XYZ. But I am very hopeful about it after watching videos, reading different reviews, and just looking through it and seeing, okay, this is more of actually what I'm wanting. So hopefully it clicks with the kids and everything goes smoothly. Like I said, I'm gonna do a video soon on what kind of curriculum we're gonna be using, and we're not gonna be using a ton of The Good and the Beautiful anymore, honestly. So I'm just gonna talk to you guys about some of the reasons why and what we're switching to instead. If you like this video, I always appreciate a thumbs up, and I will talk to you next time. Bye. Reppin' West Virginia.